Welcome to the Black Girls Heal podcast, where we talk about changing unavailable relationship patterns, healing unresolved trauma, and building a healthy relationship with first you and then others. Every episode, we will talk about actionable advice that you can apply today to break unhealthy patterns and grow your self-worth. I'm Shena Tubbs. Let's begin. Hey, welcome to the latest episode of Black Girls Heal. So in editing this episode to have it ready for y'all to come out, when I was re-listening to it, I was thinking how it might be good to have a disclaimer at the beginning where I share with you that this episode and talking about how to create your own traditions and get started and focus on life today is especially for my ladies who identify with being a love addict or having an intimacy disorder that really stops them from being content where they are, working through codependency, working through looking for relationships to fix them, operating in fantasy, all of the things that I've talked about before. If you don't know what an intimacy disorder is, if you've never heard the phrase love addiction or love addict before, check out episode 5 for you to have context. But what I'm talking about in this episode, the pain that I am referring to, is most common in people who may qualify for love addicts or having love addiction or love avoidance or love anorexia. I definitely think that the content can apply to everybody, but I didn't want anyone to listen saying, I don't really know if this fits for me. And I wanted to tell you why in case it doesn't. So that is it. That is my disclaimer. With that said, I hope you enjoy this episode on starting your life today and creating your own traditions. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Black Girls Heal. Ladies, 'tis the season. It is my favorite time of year. At the time that this recording will go out, it will be the week before Christmas, my favorite festivity and season, and I am in the spirit. I may have said at a previous podcast episode, or maybe even just on Instagram if you follow us on Instagram, but I started feeling the Christmas spirit in September. I'm pretty sure that's when I started playing some Christmas music to myself. The first song I introduced my son to was All I Want for Christmas Is You. He loved it because he is going to be a Christmas fan like I am. And now is the time that it is appropriate to be crazy in the holiday mojo. So with all that said, this podcast episode is all about creating your own family traditions. So why does that topic fit for a podcast is about inner healing, resolving relational trauma, and learning how to have healthy relationships, starting with healthy self-love with yourself? How does family traditions fit into all that? Well, it fits because when we think about the holidays, when we think about closeness and connection, and that's whether or not you celebrate Christmas or you have another set of holidays that you find to be most valuable to you and most important to you, wherever or whenever your holiday season is, these are days that it is really important for us to be connected. Is when our desire to be around other humans and to belong are extra high, extra heightened, right? And that's also why the holiday season can be very triggering to some of us. Yes, because we are in relationship and we're in connection with people that there may be some bad blood or history, or there may be some tragedies or traumas, but this is also the time where it can be extra highlighted that we do not have what we think in our mind is the right image, the right makeup of whether or not we have a partner or children, or if things are going well with our partners or children, or with the family members that we do have around us. It's just everything seems to be extra intensified, both the good things and the bad things. And so with that said, the women that I work with, there can be a tendency for many of us to say, even though we may not be aware of it, but to say that our real life will start when We have the partner, we have the kids, we have the family, we have the certain income, whatever it may be. But right now, it's almost as if, even if you're living your best life, living your purpose, it's almost like you're filling space. But you're waiting until you have another person or persons for you to start to build the life and traditions that you want. So when I have the partner, then I'll start with the stocking tradition that I've always wanted. When I have the kids, then I'll start with the giant Christmas breakfast that I've always wanted, whatever it may be. And all I simply want to say during this podcast episode is that you have the right and you should start those traditions now. You should start building the life that you want today versus waiting for someone else or something outside of you to give you permission to build the everyday experience that you have been hoping and wishing for. There is nothing that having a different status, having extra people to claim as dependents will give you in the way of permission to have that type of joy right now. I think often part of the pain that can happen is that we feel like we are missing out and we feel like we are behind and we feel like we can't start until. And so we long for these days that haven't come yet. And so I think one of the first ways that we can learn how to give ourselves back the things that may have been taken from us or the things that we have been trained to wait for someone else to give us is to start to look at, well, on Christmas Day, what is it that I want to do one day that I'm not doing now? Is there a certain movie that I'm saying, well, I can't wait to watch it with someone else, but until I have that person, I'm just going to keep busy and go to everybody else's Christmas celebrations, but I'm not going to start my own? Is there a Christmas Eve dinner that you have this fantasy about, one day I'm going to serve this for a certain number of people, and until then, again, I'm going to either go to other people's celebrations, or I'm going to keep busy, or I'm going to act like it doesn't really matter? And my challenge to you is to begin living your life today, however that may look. And I also want to challenge you that, yes, the holidays definitely bring out that spirit of like togetherness. And so you may think, okay, let's say you did have a recipe that you wanted to cook every Christmas Eve, and you're thinking, well, okay, well, maybe I can start to live my life today by making that recipe, but I'm going to invite friends over. So kind of like Friendsgiving, but around Christmas. That is an amazing idea. And I'm going to say something that may be a little bit provocative, but I want to challenge you to see if maybe you can truly start to enjoy the company of yourself. And many of us have been by ourselves for a long time, for decades, even for some of us, for years. And so the idea of being told to spend a holiday by ourselves is like, girl, I've done that. And it ain't as fun as I'm telling you. And that may be the case for some of us, right? Because we are very much in tune with a longing for wanting other people to be present with us. For some of us, is that plus we don't really know ourselves. We don't really enjoy our own company to begin with. It's kind of a bore. It's kind of a pain. It's kind of a punishment. There's this idea of, okay, well, what now, right? Tracy Ellis Ross, which I think is the shero of self-love for a lot of Black women, and I'm sure non-Black women as well, but for sure women of color. You know, she's asked consistently and constantly about her own self-love and what that means for her and what it took to cultivate it. Is she really alone in all these pictures that she posts where she's like on the beach and posing? Is there like a secret boo waiting in the wings? And she will say no. She says that she takes these vacations, these moments to herself, because she truly loves her and thinks that she is hilarious and enjoys her company truly. And if that is a place that you feel like you cannot relate to, that like, yes, in theory, but when you're really quiet and when you're really alone, that nagging ache comes up that I talk about often. but like that emptiness, that empty feeling, I really want to encourage you to be curious about that feeling. How long has it been there? How long have you been ignoring it? What are the things that you've been trying to do to fix it and to fill it? What have you been telling yourself that's not working? The affirmations of I love myself, I love myself, I love myself, I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough. Maybe you've been saying them for months and years and there's still some things that aren't connecting. Maybe you've made a list of all the things that are wonderful about yourself and you're still like, well, that might be true, but why don't other people see this in me? So again, that subconscious need that even when you're really doing your own self-work, you're actually doing it for the approval and promise that someone else will validate that, yeah, you really are as beautiful as you think you are. You really are as talented as you think you are. You really are as special and fun as you wrote on this list of 20 items. And that list of 20 items is not real and not really true because you're still spending Christmas and New Year's by yourself. So my invitation to you is that 2020 will be the year that if the next set of holidays is that you're single or that you are in a relationship that is not going where you want it to be, or if you are in a wonderful committed partnership or really focusing on being the best mother you can to children if you are partnerless by choice or by circumstance, that no matter what your status is, that you truly, truly, truly love, are happy, and are connected to you. Because you are the most important relationship that you have. You bring you everywhere you go. If I have hit on any of the insecurities that you have, the affirmations that don't work, the longing, the not knowing how to connect to you, I really invite you to join me with the Healed and Loved Woman. It's my year-long mentorship program that I've been talking about the last 5 or 6 episodes, I think. We are closing doors on Christmas Day. So there is an end to this, where Learn to Thrive, our other program, is open through multiple points throughout the year. And that is the program that really does focus on building your self-love and fixing your relationships, romantic and friendship and otherwise. The Healed and Loved Woman truly is about getting it connected to you, building your own self-love, doing some inner child work, reparenting yourself, learning how to truly build self-compassion, learning how to get connected to your body, learning how to not be frozen whenever you are setting boundaries, learning how to actually give yourself the things that you need so that you don't feel that empty hole. I would love for you to consider that to be your Christmas gift to yourself. It is my most accessible program, and you get all of me as your mentor, coach, non-official therapeutic support, and friend for a whole year, where my main focus is just helping you be the best you and letting go of the wounds of trauma that may still be following you and creeping up, even if you're currently in therapy. I love that this program is therapy friendly in case you do have a counselor right now, or if you are on a break or sabbatical from therapy. I've had women in this program across the board who have had a therapist or not had a therapist while in this program, and both sets have made really incredible improvements and just raved about their time together. So would love to have you. You can join me at thehealedandlovedwoman.com. Again, there is an end date on Christmas Day, and doors will not be opening again for the rest of the year. So this is your last call, last chance. So I really want to make it clear that I mean what I say when I say that, like, it truly doesn't matter what your status is or where you are. You bring you wherever you go. And so your best bet, no matter what you're dealing with, no matter where you are, whether it's financial problems, whether or not it's problems at your job, whether or not it's problems in your relationship, whether or not it's problems in your self-esteem, your depression, your anxiety, is to heal and work on yourself. Because once you are good, once you know how to parent your inner child and detect what she needs and give her a voice and love on yourself, then everything else is easier. Everything else is cake. So thehealedandlovedwoman.com is where you can join me. And I hope that y'all are having a wonderful set of holiday days wherever you are. If you are not, I'm sending you my biggest support and positive vibes. But yeah, tag me on your traditions should you be doing anything during this part of the year. If you are a Christmas or Kwanzaa or Judaic religious tradition follower, I think the winter solstice is coming up as well. So if you relate to that, I will love to see how you are celebrating. So just tag me at blackgirlsheal_, and I would love to reshare and celebrate with you. So that's it for this episode. I love you all dearly. So grateful for you. Take care of yourselves.